Hello everyone, thank you for taking some time off your work to join our webinar. I hope you're all safe and well. I'm Meenakshi Sundaram, one of the product marketers for Zoho Vault, and I have with me Christopher, who's our technical support engineer. Some of you might be familiar with him as well, and both of us would be presenting the session for you today. So thank you so much for joining the session, Christopher.
Thanks, Minachi. Thanks everyone for joining this webinar.
Yeah. So Christopher will be running us through some of the frequently posed questions on Vault at the end of the session. So we've got a dedicated session that answers all your frequently posed questions. So please stay on till the end. You'll be getting answers to a lot of pressing questions that you might have had about Zoho Vault. So yeah, you can also feel free to post your questions at any point of this webinar, and this will really help us keep the session interactive. You can use the Q&A section that you find in Zoho Meeting to post all of your questions, and we'll be answering them at the end of the session. So we'll have a dedicated Q&A session at the end. So yeah, let's get started with that. All right, so we'll start this session with a quick introduction to our new user interface by discussing the new terms and layout changes that have been adopted. And we'll then have a closer look at the benefits of switching to Vault's new interface. And we'll also talk about some of the new features that you can utilize from a new interface as well. So before we open up for a Q&A, as I mentioned, Christopher will be giving out answers to some of the frequently posed questions about Vault in general, and also questions related to the new interface as well. So all in all, it's going to be an interesting and educational session. So yeah, let's begin. Now, before we step into the screens from our new UI, let's just quickly take a look at the key terms used in the product that will be replacing the existing terms. So, if you're already on the new interface, I guess you would be familiar by now with all the new terms. But if you're not, here's a quick recap. Secrets have now been renamed to passwords, chambers to folders, passphrase to master password, password type to categories, and alert notification to just simply alerts. So yeah, so there's actually been a lot of changes in the key terms, and the main idea was to simplify the user experience on all fronts. So we wanted to start with the product terms, and hence we've updated these terms across all our applications, including the mobile apps as well. So if you're logging in from your mobile application and you suddenly see a term called master password instead of passphrase, just don't freak out. It's just your passphrase. You can enter your passphrase and log in. So yeah, and let me just quickly run you through the new UI screen starting from dashboard. So in the new UI, you get extensive security insights for all major actions performed from your dashboard, and you can also get an overview of your personal and your enterprise passwords as well. So you can switch between either of these tabs that you see on your screen, between My Dashboard and Team Dashboard, and you can find your password security score. You can then find an overview of your password hygiene, identify the key operations that are being carried out regularly on your organization's Vault account, and all the passwords that have to be recycled soon, all the passwords that have been shared, all the different password actions carried out, and so many other things that can be explored here. So as you see, if you haven't explored the dashboard fully, you should definitely go out and try all the functionalities that you find in the dashboard. And we're also soon going to redesign the dashboard to give additional information that will help admins understand all the weak passwords that are owned by all the users in Vault as well. So this is something that's in the roadmap. So this dashboard will definitely be your one-stop solution for all your password concerns in the future. So okay, so now we move on to the passwords tab. So you can store all your web credentials and other sensitive data on the passwords tab as usual. So if you try to add your passwords, you can select sites if you want to explore a predefined list of passwords. So you can just search for websites that you'd want to store passwords in Vault. And if that particular website is already available with us, we have almost 450 plus predefined sites in Vault. And say, for example, if you search Twitter, you're most definitely going to find Twitter. And you can just save your username and password from sites. And if you want to save a custom password, say, for example, you would want to save any sensitive data that's not a password, for example, a bank account, you can select add password, then click on category and select one of the different categories. and you can also go ahead and save your passwords that way. And you can also create custom categories as usual. So that's another added benefit as well. Now again, you have two different views here. One's the tile view and the other's the list view. If you wish to view more passwords on your screen, you can go with the tile view because it displays quite a lot of passwords in a single page. But if you wish to quickly copy your passwords or your usernames, you can go with the tile view. I mean the list view, because the list view will help you quickly copy the password, view the username, and go ahead and just access the website that you wish to as well. So these are the minor changes that have happened in the passwords tab. And also you can find the folders to the left of your screen on the same passwords tab. So if you want to quickly navigate to a different folder, you can do so right away. Now, moving on, next we have our folders. So you can group your different passwords into individual folders, and you can either access them from the side panel, as I mentioned in the passwords tab, or you can even access them from the folders tab. Folders tab is mainly used to help you perform bulk operations like deleting a folder and such. And we've also introduced quite a few enhancements to our folders, and I'll be talking about that very soon in a later stage of this session. So yeah, you can stay tuned about all the different enhancements of our folders. Now, if you're on the enterprise edition and you're managing passwordless authentication for your business applications through single sign-on, then the new interface really simplifies the flow of adding applications. Adding single sign-on based applications in Vault. So what you can do is you can just go ahead to apps section, click on manage apps, and either create your own custom applications by clicking create custom app, or you can click on add supported app and access 100 plus SSO applications that have been pre-configured by our team. So this entire action has been made really smooth, and you can feel it to be a lot faster as well. Right now, everything's organized in a single screen, and you have enough data to understand what fields you would be filling out as well. So you should definitely give it a try if you are using applications in Vault. All right, so next we move on to audit. The audit section also has a fresh look as well, and we've just made a minor enhancements to the audits from the old interface. We have extensive filter options right now, so you can just select whichever data you'd like to see, and you can hide the rest of the data. So this will help you focus on only the data that matters and only the things that you would have to take a closer look at. So that's one enhancement that has happened for audit. Now moving on to reports. The reports tab also gets a colorful upgrade, as you can see, and we've got eye-catching charts in the new interface as well, and you can clearly capture all the actions that are happening in your organization's world. So this is another place where we've cleaned up things, so you would be able to understand and capture the data very easily without adding in more of your efforts, right? So yeah. And finally, moving on to the settings page, we've grouped multiple menus such as tools, settings, and admin tab from the existing or the old interface. And we've grouped them into a single place called the settings in a new interface. So all actions from these tabs will now be part of settings in the new design. So you can now manage your personal and organizational settings from the settings tab without any hassle. And you can also explore all the different integrations and customize Vault based on your preference as well from settings. So this is one place where you can just configure all your Zoho Vault related stuff easily and quickly. All right, so that was a quick overview of all the different tabs that have gone through a major update in our new interface. Now moving on to the next slide, where we'll be talking about how you can migrate to the new interface. I guess most of you have already moved to the new interface, but if you haven't, it's really easy. So if you wish to switch to a new interface, you can click on the Try New Interface button that you find on the top right corner of your old interface, and you'll be prompted to enter your master password. The master password is nothing but your passphrase that we just discussed. You can enter your passphrase there, and then you can access all your data from the new design as well. So this is pretty much how you can access our new interface. So yeah, so once you're onto the new interface, we would definitely want to retain you in the new interface, right? Because that's the future, and that's where we're going to build all the new features and upcoming stuff in, right? So if we are asking you to move to the new interface, it's got to be something for you as well to move, right? So let's see why switching to the new interface would be beneficial for you. As you might have seen in the previous slides, the new interface is quite neat and a lot more organized, and the interface is quite modern and is designed by keeping all the latest trends in mind as well. So we're also constantly enhancing all of the features and also the experience of users in the new interface. So we've been addressing every valid feedback from our customers, and we're enhancing the user experience based on whatever valid suggestions have been put to us uh, by a lot of our customers who are testing the beta interface as well. So we've been adding a lot of enhancements regularly. So most of our new features that have come out in the new interface have been a result of a feature request or an enhancement request from the customers who are testing our beta interface as well. So that's one thing, and it's also packed with exciting new updates and enhancements that are exclusive to the new interface. So moving on, then all the new features that get rolled out from Vault will only be available in the new interface. So this is an important point that you would have to remember, that all the new features and enhancements that we roll out will only be available on the new interface, and that's another reason why you should quickly switch, and you can like try out all the new features and see if you like them as well. And finally, our browser extensions are also getting redesigned to match the look and feel of our web interface as well. And we'll soon be talking about that particular thing in detail in this very session. And yeah, so these are a few reasons why you should be switching to the new interface of Vault. Now, let's just talk about some of the new features and enhancements that have gone live very recently. So I'll start off with dragging and dropping of passwords. So yeah, this was a commonly requested feature by a lot of our users who were actively testing out the beta version. They felt that they needed an option to drag and drop passwords into folders, and yeah, we have it for you now. So you can select different passwords you own from the All Passwords tab that you see, and you can just drag them into a folder of your choice. So this creates an instance of your password in the folder. So what I mean by that is these passwords are not actually copied into these folders. These passwords are actually associated with the folder. So when you drag and drop a few passwords into a folder, you can easily access them from that particular folder. But that does not mean you can delete the password from the all password section. The all passwords is a tab where you can view all your passwords regardless of which folder they're part of. So when you delete passwords from this section, they'll be deleted from the folders as well. But yeah, you can still drag and drop them to different folders and access them from that particular folder whenever you require as well. Yeah. So next is the drag and drop option for folders. Now, not just passwords, you can also drag and drop folders, and you can just set different preferences as you wish. You can move folders and reorganize them as you wish, and you can either change the folder arrangement for quicker access by placing a folder on top, or you can also rearrange folders to be part of a different folder. Say, for example, you can drag a folder and add that particular folder to be a subfolder of another folder as well. So this is something that you can easily do right now. And the next one would be creating subfolders. So if you want to create a subfolder, you can just right click on an existing folder from the folders panel that you find in the passwords tab. You can just right click and select create subfolder, and it quickly creates a subfolder. You wouldn't have to go through a lot of hassle. You wouldn't have to create folder and then specify the folder under which you would want to create this and all of that. It's quite simple right now. Next one would be filtering passwords within a particular folder. Now, yeah, so this was a really frequently requested feature earlier that was unavailable in the old interface, and now we have the option to filter your passwords within a folder. So you can select one of almost 11 options that are available in our filters, like most used, recently added, and all the other options that you just see on your screen right there. and you can filter different passwords within a folder as well. And next, we have an interesting enhancement which helps you easily remove passwords from folders. So you now no longer have to follow multiple steps if you wish to remove passwords from folders. So you can just simply select the passwords you wish to remove and click more. That will show you an option called remove from folder. So you can directly remove these passwords from the folder, and that's it. You wouldn't have to mind selecting the different folders these passwords are associated with and uncheck them one after another. So this simplifies a lot of your, this simplifies the process and also saves a lot of your time as well. And next one is creating subfolders under shared folders. So another frequently requested feature, there used to be an issue whenever you shared a folder with a different user with managed permissions, right? Few of the users might know this. Earlier, we were users were unable to add a new subfolder under a shared folder. So let's say if John shares a folder to Maria would not be able to create a subfolder under John's folder. So that issue has now been, that functionality is now available. So in the new interface, what you can do is whenever you share a folder with manage or modify privilege, users will be able to create a subfolder, and they'll be able to add as many subfolders as they wish under the same folder. And however, by default, the newly created subfolders will not be accessible for the parent folder owner. So in order to allow all the parent folder owners to access the subfolders, you can either allow the parent folder owner to access your subfolder while creating them, or you can give default access to all the parent folder owners using the fine-grained controls option that you see here. So what you can do is you can just go to fine-grained controls, and you can either do it by yourself or request your admin to disable parent folder owner as default owner of subfolders, as you see on your screen right here. So this way, the subfolders can be shared with the same privilege as your existing folder as well. So yeah, so you can now create any number of subfolders under a shared folder, and also allow your parent folder owner to get the same privileges and manage the folder as well. And the next one is CM integration. We recently released the CM integration feature for our enterprise users. So this integration helps admins keep close tabs on all actions happening in their organization's vault, as CM tools gather security logs from various services, and they just monitor activities performed from a single place. So from a single location, you'll be able to monitor all the different logs from different services that you have integrated your CM service with. And having security logs from multiple IT resources can help IT teams identify malicious activities as well. And also adding these logs containing information about all password actions to your enterprise's CM system can provide a holistic view of both internal and external threats for your organization as well. Now, we currently integrate with popular CM solutions like Logly, Logz.io, Rapid7, Sematext, Sumo Logic, and Timber as well. And yeah, so in the next slide, we'll actually see the different, so we'll be seeing the different alerts that you can configure with this integration. So although if a few of the users can recognize this, although Vault supports audits and custom alerts as well by default, a lot of the important happenings in Vault can only be tracked through the CM integration, because compared to the custom alerts that are limited in number, you have hundreds of operations that you can configure. Say, for example, you can get notified whenever an inactivity timeout is updated, whenever a password gets unshared, and all of this stuff. And you can send these logs to your particular CM service as you wish as well. And it'll help you get deeper insights on everything that happens in your organization as well. And we also talked about this particular integration in detail in our last month's webinar. We had special guests come over from Sematext as well. So we'll be sharing the link to that particular webinar very soon with you guys at the end of the session, if you're interested as well. And yeah, another added benefit of using the new interface is the easy access to all our help documentation. So you can click on the help icon that you find on your on your Vault interface, and whenever you click on the particular help icon corresponding to a particular tab, you'll be redirected to the help documentation of that particular tab. Say for example, if you go to reports and click on help, you'll be redirected to the help documentation corresponding to reports. So this saves a lot of your time spent on looking for the right documentation, and it'll be really helpful if you're just beginning to explore Vault and you would like some handholding as well. These help documentation have detailed steps, and they also cover a lot of actions that you can configure and perform. So you can definitely go ahead and try out all these features when you're done with the session. And yeah, if you still have any issues, you can contact support from within Zoho Vault's interface as well. You will find a request assistance button right below the help resources button in Zoho Vault's new interface. So you can just directly get in touch with our support personnel by reporting your query from the very same box very same pop-up that you get in your interface as well. All right, so that was a quick overview of all the new updates that had come out in Vault, and now we'll just quickly run through a few features that are right around the corner and you can expect them very soon. And I'll be starting with a very interesting feature called the trash. So yeah, we're soon introducing an option to trash your passwords. So trash helps you soft delete passwords instead of deleting them permanently. And as you know, Vault already has an efficient data backup feature that lets you back up all your Zoho Vault data and send them to your cloud services as and when required. Now, with this update, uh, this just ensures that you never lose access to your passwords even when you delete them, right? So even when you delete them, you just pretty much moving them to trash from where you can easily recover them at any time you wish. And also restoring a password from trash will mean that they get reinstated in the same folders that they used to belong to. And that's a really cool feature that's coming up very soon. And you can expect an update from us in the next few days as well. Now, the browser extension revamp that a lot of you guys were excited about. So yeah, we are revamping our browser extensions, and the main theme was to make our browser extensions faster and look and align well with the new interface that we're building for Vault. So the new extension for Safari is already out and it's available in the App Store. If you guys are keen users of Safari, you can just go ahead, find out the Safari extension the Zoho Vault extension for Safari from the App Store, and you can just download it and try it out. It's so much faster. It's a lot efficient. As you can see, you can just generate passwords. You can auto log into websites just as you would in the existing extension, but in a lot quicker way. And the extension that we're building right now is also it's also accompanied by a detailed view that you'll be seeing in the next slide as well. So yeah, when you log into your Zoho Vault extension, you'll be able to open a detailed view, and the detailed view will list all of your passwords in a quick new tab. And this tab is really fast, and it's actually faster and gets your work done in a quicker time as well. You can explore all your passwords here. You can also auto log in from here. So as you can see, right after you click the extension, it pops up, and it's a lot faster than how it used to be in the earlier days. And this version is already out for Safari. We're currently in the final stages of building a revamped extension for Chrome and Firefox as well, and hopefully you can expect it in the next few weeks as well. It's in the final stages and it's coming out really well. And yeah, we're all excited for you to try this out very soon. Yeah, so with that being said, I'll be handing the session over to Christopher, and he'll be running you through a few questions that have frequently been posed by our customers. It could have even been you. You could have also posed this question to us, or you might have had these questions in your mind for a long while as well. Christopher will be giving you answers to some of the key questions that are being posed and key issues that customers face on a regular basis. Yeah. So regarding the updates that I was talking about recently, you can just keep a close eye on our blogs and forums. You can follow our community. You can follow our Zoho Vault community as well to be notified of all the new updates instantly. And yeah, by saying that, I'm just going to quickly hand over the session to Christopher, and he'll be running you through till the end of the session, and I'll jump back in for the Q&A. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Minaj.
Yeah. Thank you, Christopher. All yours.
So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar today. So my name is Christopher, and I'm one of the technical support engineer with the Vault team. As Hari said, we will be discussing about a few general questions about Zoho Vault in few slides from now. And if you have any questions, you may post your questions in the Q&A section of your meeting tool. So yeah, so this is one question that we are now recently getting from most of our customers. So as we all know nowadays, many companies are very conscious about where the service related data are stored. So we get queries around this sometimes in forums and in support tickets. So I thought this information will also be helpful to participants in this webinar. So to answer this question, we have data centers across the globe. We have data centers in USA, Europe, Australia, India, and China. So our data centers, they are separated and they have different access URLs. So for example, if you are a customer from US or Canada, you can store and process your information in the US data centers. So the access URL will be zoho.com/vault. Similarly, if you are from Europe, then you can access the Vault service using the URL zoho.eu/vault. So for Australia, it will be zoho.com.au/vault. And for Indian customers, it will be zoho.in/vault. And for China, it will be zoho.com.cn/vault. So we have different access URLs for each data centers. So your information will also be backed up within the particular region itself. In case, like if you're from Europe and you have accidentally signed up in our US data center and you need help with migrating data from US to Europe, it is also possible now. So we have tools to migrate the setup from one data center to another. In case, if you're using just the Vault service, we'll be able to migrate it easily in a few days, say in a couple of days or so. Just in case, like if you're using several services in Zoho, then we may need some time because we need to analyze whether there will be any data loss in the setup during this migration process or not. So if in case if there are any migrations, there is any issues with data migration or any data loss is detected during our analysis period, we will definitely inform you. And then after your confirmation, we will be proceeding further with migration plans. So next thing is, as soon as, when we have new users onboarded to the product, let's say a new super admin or a new user is onboarded to the Vault, so they will reach out to admins or they will reach out to support stating that they can see a number of passwords in the dashboard, but they cannot access them in the passwords tab of the Vault. So this is one frequent scenario that we see nowadays. So I believe if I can show you practically, this will be useful for everyone in this session. So now let's assume adding a new user to the Vault. So as soon as we add a user in the product, the initial status of the user will be pending account creation, which means the user is added to the service, but the user haven't configured the account by setting a passphrase for their account. So user can configure the passphrase for the vault. So once the passphrase is configured by the user, automatically a sharing request will be initiated from the user's end. So now we'll quickly go ahead and assign or share some passwords or folders with this user. So you can share individually by clicking the grant, or you can select multiple users and provide access to passwords. As you all know, we have different permission levels. So depending on your requirement, you can apply the appropriate permission level for the users. So once a password or a folder is shared with the user, so they will be able to access it. So as soon as their sharing status is approved by one of the super administrators in the vault. So as I told you, like once the passphrase or the master password is set, users, they will see the password count in the dashboard, but they cannot view them in the passwords tab. So this is because the sharing status must be approved for the user in the product in order to access any shared information or to share any passwords in the service. So any super administrators or administrators in the product whose sharing status is already approved, they can approve this user's sharing status in the vault, or it can be automatically approved when the super admin or admin, they log into their vault account. So now let's log into Vault as an admin. So as soon as an administrator account logs into the Vault, automatically the sharing status will be approved for the user. So once it is approved, this user, they can access the shared passwords in the product. So as soon as we add a new user to the Vault, we must make sure that user's sharing status is approved. Only then they will be able to access all shared passwords and folders in the system. So another frequent question that we get is about super admin access to all passwords in the product. So the entire design of Zoho Vault, it is based on the ownership and sharing concept. So when a user or when someone in the product adds a password in the vault, automatically that user who adds the password becomes the password owner, and it is accessible only to that password owner. So if the owner wants others to access, that passwords must be shared to required users in the system. So we follow this design basically to regulate users' access to business passwords. So we have seen during implementation, we have seen many companies where they have a dedicated IT team to manage the IT tools or services they offer for employees. So likewise, Vault will also be one of the programs that will be managed by the IT team, but the passwords which are being like stored in the product will be from different team members. Like a member from finance team might be storing passwords related to the company card details or any other finance portals. Similarly, a member from IT team or like a network team might be storing some passwords related to network equipments. Likewise, persons from marketing team, they might store passwords related to company's marketing resources. So if it's a case, if it is going to be the case, the super admins like IT team who is going to manage the service, they will automatically get access to these credentials. So which is not necessary for these IT team members to have access to these credentials from other departments. So that's why we follow this ownership and sharing design. So once the password is shared by user, the user, they can share it with required team members in the vault. So there is second question that will arise. So what will happen to the passwords that are added by user, and what will happen when they leave the company? So for such scenarios, we have options like transfer ownership and emergency access. I mean to say we have necessary options like emergency access and transfer ownership features to ensure that the organization always has access to business credentials. So when we say transferring the ownership of passwords from one user to or from an employee who left the company, so we will be able to transfer only the enterprise passwords. Then what are the other classification passwords available in Zoho Vault? So as the password manager, when a user stores information in the product, we allow users to store both personal as well as enterprise information in the product. So when you add any password in the vault, at the bottom, you have an option where you can choose whether this is a personal password of the user or not. So by default, this option is unchecked. So anything that you store without this option being enabled, it will be stored as an enterprise information in the vault. So if you purposefully select this option, so this particular credential, it will be stored as personal information of the user. The difference between personal and enterprise passwords is personal passwords, they are strictly maintained as users' private information. So personal passwords that cannot be transferred or it cannot be shared. It is accessible only to that password owner or to that user who created it. So as I told you, if you uncheck and save the credential, it will be stored as the enterprise information in the vault. So the enterprise passwords, you can share it with required team members in the system, and also you can transfer it from one account to another. So let us say if an employee leaves the company, before employee leaves the company, they can transfer the ownership of this password from their account directly to another user in the vault. Similarly, let us say if an employee has already left the company, we have option to directly transfer the ownership from the user account to required account or to the super admin account in the service. So let us just quickly look into those couple of options. So let me just add a personal password and enterprise password. So once we save it, without enabling the option mark as personal password, your information is stored as enterprise information in the vault. So as I told you, the sharing option, it will be disabled for the personal information. So you cannot share or transfer personal passwords with other users. For enterprise passwords, the sharing option will be enabled, which can be shared with other users or user groups in the system. So this employee, we assume let us say this user is about to leave the company. The user can select the own passwords, and using the more option, there is a transfer ownership function using which they can directly transfer it to another user in the vault. So this is one option. In case if this user has already left the company, as a super administrator of the product, the super admins can transfer the ownership of enterprise passwords from the user. So you can also transfer the folder structure during this transfer ownership process. So the highlight that we offer in Zoho Vault during the transfer ownership is you can select the target account to which we need to transfer this password ownership. So it's not only to the super admin who is acquiring it. So in case if it is required, the super admin can directly transfer the ownership to other user who is going to manage the credentials. So this password will be now transferred to the other account. So it's easy to transfer ownership when an employee leaves a company. So this way, your business information will remain intact and the organization will always have access to enterprise information stored in the service. So yes, so this is one thing that Meenakshi tried to explain earlier. So how to easily retrieve the details, the password details from the new interface. So we have list view and tile view in the new interface. So if you are used to old interface, you can use a list view. The list view is very similar to the old interface. So you have all the options available on the screen. So it's very similar to old interface. So one thing that we have included in the new interface is you will be able to easily access the username information. And in addition to that, there is a copy password option. So you don't have to go to details and then copy the username and password details. So instead, you can directly view here and collect the username and password information from the list view. So next thing is we have seen many customers who are used to the old interface of the product, and especially the method that we introduced earlier when we launched the service, which is one-click auto login option. So this is now deprecated in the new interface. So the reason behind this decision is when we launched Zoho Vault service in the market, so we introduced one-click auto login option as an auto login feature in the product. So this particular feature works well with few sites, but there are few limitations where it won't work well with websites designed with iframe, or especially with banking websites, which has more secure option, because some websites do not allow the Vault bookmarklet to execute the script to autofill the username and password functions. So it failed on many news sites. So to overcome that issue, we launched the browser extension. And in recent years, we have implemented many enhancements to browser extensions. And we have also started supporting websites with multiple login forms. For example, if you take Google, it's a two-step process where you have username and password in different pages. So these were not initially supported, but with extension, we have made it possible, and we are supporting websites with two-step login processes. These are not supported with the click to login bookmarklet. So we thought we could remove this and we can migrate all customers to browser extension. So the browser extension is more efficient and it can support most of the websites during auto login or during autofill your information. So we can install browser extension depending on the browsers. So once you click the profile icon, you can see the list of browser extensions. So depending on your browser, you can install this browser extension. So once the extension is installed, you will be able to access all your username, password details directly from the extension. Also, you can use the extension to autofill passwords. So when you access websites, you can use the Zoho Vault extension here. So you can directly launch the website from the extension, which will automatically fill the username and password details. So this is one option. And another option is if you go directly to website, in the website, you will see the Zoho Vault icon. So clicking on the Zoho Vault icon, we will display all passwords that are relevant to this particular website in your Vault account. So if you have 5 or 6 passwords, and if the password has the URL in the browser, or if it matches the URL in the browser, we display all your 5 to 6 passwords here in the suggestion. You can also search and you can fill the required password details during the login. So this is one option. And at last, if in case, if you do not find Zoho Vault icon in the login form, you can use the context menu option. You can right click anywhere on the page, and using the Zoho Vault option in the context menu, you can autofill the username and password details. So there are 3 different options. So either you can launch the website and autofill the username and password details, or you can go directly to the website and then use the Zoho Vault option in the context menu. Sorry, in the using the Z icon in the login form, or you can right click anywhere on the page and use the Zoho Vault option in the context menu. So these are different options available. So with these 3 options, you will be definitely able to autofill the password and username information on any website. So not only the option specific to the Z icon or context menu, even when you right click on any particular field, you can use this option where you can individually fill required fields as well. So in case if none of the options works, you can also use this option to fill in the details automatically and log in. So you don't have to manually copy paste information or manually enter information when you access websites. And next thing is how to add new and existing passwords to folders. So organizing passwords is one of the like a very good thing, and it helps you easily access specific set of passwords, so that it reduces your time for searching for a particular set of credential or for specific passwords. So you can organize passwords into folders with 3 different options. So the first option is, as Meenakshi said, or my colleague Hari said, you can drag and drop your passwords to folder. So that's one option. And another option is you can do like select the passwords from more. You can choose add to folder option. So you can select or you can specify a folder name. So this is one option, and at last there is an option right next to the password name. You can use manage associated folders. So using this option, you will be able to add and remove passwords from multiple folders. So these are 3 different options. So either you can use the drag and drop option, or you can select your passwords and then you can use the add folder or add to folder option, or you can use the manage associated folder option here to easily associate and remove passwords from folders. So this one another question is relevant to your Zoho account. So there are certain customers who will reach out to us at a point where they don't have access to the mobile number or the device registered for the MFA or TFA of their account. So in such cases, what are the backup options or what are the options that we have is first option is when you configure TFA for your account or when you configure MFA for your account, there is an option at the end of your setup, you can download backup codes from the Zoho accounts portal. So you will get a set of 5 different codes. So you can email it or you can download it and save it securely in your computer or in other cloud storage. So you can use those backup codes during login. So that's one option. And in case if you do not have access to backup codes, you don't have to panic. Instead, drop an email to support@zohoaccounts.com. There will be a small email verification process to prove your account ownership. So once your account ownership is proved, our accounts team will help you with one-time backup code through which you can log into the account and reconfigure the TFA again. So this is the solutions available for this particular question. And at last, so this question is dedicated to a few Zoho One customers. So as we all know, Zoho One is a very huge bundle which comes with more than 50 plus applications, including Zoho Vault. So when I say including Zoho Vault Enterprise Edition is already included with your Zoho One bundle. So with this particular software, you will be able to manage all your business and personal credentials. You can share, retrieve, and do manage your complete password activities with this tool, which is already bundled with Zoho One. So what happens here is sometimes people may directly sign up for Zoho Vault and they will end up with the standalone trial of the service. So they will start receiving email alerts stating that the trial is about to expire in 5 days and 3 days and trial expired. So that creates confusion. So as I told you, like Zoho One has the enterprise edition of Vault already included in it. So rather than directly accessing our website and setting up a standalone trial, please go to the admin panel and add the Vault application in your Zoho One system so that you get the enterprise access to Zoho Vault service. So that's all. So these are some common or some general information that I wanted to share with you. So if in case, if you have any further questions on these topics that we discussed now, or apart from this, if you have any questions, please use the chat section in the meeting tool and post your queries. Myself and Meenakshi will answer them for you.
Thank you so much for running us through all those questions with detail, Christopher. I think our users would really feel, I think they would really find this educational and they would really find this helpful as well. I think these are some questions that a lot of users had in mind as well. So thank you so much for that. I'll just quickly start off with the questions that have been posed here. Before I do that, I'm just going to quickly send over the webinar link of CM integration. This was a webinar that happened last month, and as promised, I'm just sending out link to that particular webinar. I think everybody would be able to see it right now. All right, so I'll just be quickly taking up some of the questions and I'll post some of them to Christopher as well. I'll start off with William's question. William wants to know if he can log into Zoho Vault without logging into Zoho. So William, Zoho Vault is part of Zoho. So we're one of the 40 plus products that Zoho offers. So by default, you'll be registering with Zoho first, and then you'll be entering a passphrase or a master password to access your Zoho Vault account. So skipping Zoho Vault, skipping registration with Zoho Vault is only possible if you integrate with different services like your AD, Office 365, and G Suite services. So if you wish to skip your if you wish to skip the Zoho sign-in, you can opt for one of the integrations that we offer that are available uh, across different paid plans of Zoho Vault as well. Christopher, do you want to add anything to that?
Uh, so as you said, Zoho Vault is a part of Zoho Suite. So when it comes to Zoho environment, we have a common authentication system in place. So you must first log into that authentication system. So only after that you will be able to access the various services, including Vault. So to say or to answer your question directly, it is not possible to access the Vault service without logging into your Zoho account.
All right, thank you, Christopher. I'm just going to quickly take on the next question. So John has a question. John wants to know if Kim is going to quickly read that out loud. Can you be sure to address rolling down of access permissions? Is there a user or group? If a user or group has managed access to a parent directory and a password is entered into a child directory under the parent, all users who have managed access at the parent level should also have manage access at the password level. Okay, so John, I'm just gonna quickly try and answer your question. Just let me know if I've understood the question right. I think you're trying to ask if we can override the password privileges with that of a user group privilege or a folder privilege. Is that right? If that's your question, right now the password privilege gets precedence over the folder privilege as it exists right now. So if that's your question, I think this would be the answer. So let's say, for example, if you share a password with the user directly with view permission, and then you go ahead and share a folder with the user with a different permission, like let's say manage permission, the user would still get a view permission because the password privilege takes precedence. Is that right, Christopher? I'm telling this right?
Yeah, you're right, Meenakshi. So we have some priorities here when it comes to permissions. So we have seen, like few scenarios as well, wherein we share same password to the same user with multiple permission levels. When I say with multiple permission level, let's say I have a password called Facebook, and I share that Facebook credential directly to the user with, uh, say, view permission. And at the same time, I put this particular Facebook password inside a folder called marketing. And then I share that folder to the same user with modify or manage permission. So we have a set of priorities here. The first priority is always given to the priority that we configure or the permission level that we configure at the password level. So it's a password level to user is the first priority. And second level of priority is given to password level to user group. And the third level of priority is given to folder level to user. And the fourth level of priority is given to user, that is password to, that is folder to user group. So we have four different priorities. So based on the priority order, the first priority is always given to password to user level sharing. So the user will get only the view permission. So even though you provide manage or modify rights at the folder level, it will not take precedence. The least one at the user level, that is at the password to user level, is what we provide at last.
Thank you for the detailed answer, Christopher. I think you have a fan right here. Gilbert says Christopher rocks. So there's some fan following for you there. Congratulations on that. And I'm just going to quickly move on to a couple other questions related to APIs. I think Christopher would be the right guy to answer these. Vanessa wants to know about this particular thing. She says, I see we can hide password categories. However, in the API, I still see all the options. Will this be reflected in the API as well?
Yes. So when you normally, like do an API call, you will get all the information that is available in the system. But still, you can see we have, published an official documentation for API, and we have, like certain enhancements or certain fine tunes that needs to be implemented in the API part as well. So in our documentation, we majorly concentrate on the password management, chamber management, and the option to retrieve users, so user groups. So these are the list of information that we concentrate mainly at the moment. So maybe after the end of the new interface launch, so we can, dedicate some time to fine tune the entire API mechanism. So with that, we'll be able to, address everything similar to the how it works in the interface.
All right. So there's another question related to API posted by John. John wants to know if he can give a user access to certain folders via the API, but not to others.
Not to?
Not to others.
Yeah, it is possible. It is definitely possible. So even, with the API, you will be able to specify user IDs to which a particular password or folders has to be shared. So with that control, you will be able to share the password or folder with the dedicated or required users.
All right. Thank you for that, Christopher. I will just quickly move on to the next question. What if the user who's leaving has erroneously marked personal okay, so Gilbert wants to know what happens when a user accidentally marks an enterprise password as personal. How can we retrieve that particular password? So Gilbert, uh, by default, users have access to save their personal as well as enterprise passwords in their account because we try and encourage every user to save their credentials, save all their credentials involved, regardless of what type of credential they might be. If you as an enterprise admin feel that you wouldn't want to miss out on a few enterprise passwords being saved as personal, and if you want your users to only use Vault to save your business passwords, you can go to the fine grained controls under settings. From there you would be able to find an option called prevent users from saving personal passwords. So when you turn that setting on, it will prevent your users from saving any password as personal. From then on, your users will only be able to save passwords as with the enterprise category by default. So that is something you can consider if you are a little worried about missing out on a couple of passwords. I hope that answers your question, but if you still have a follow-up question, just quickly post another one in the Q&A section. Fabrice says this session was very helpful. Thank you so much, Fabrice. Fabrice has also written a personalized message in our local language, Tamil. So we really appreciate it. Mikka Nandri, Fabrice. Yes, John, I'll definitely ask Christopher to write to you. We'll soon be, you can soon expect an email from Christopher when the session is done. And we'll be addressing all your queries. Thank you so much for showing your interest. Thank you. And we have one other question from Delisa Lee. So the question is that in the past, I found that when I shared a password with someone, they were able to retrieve my password as it was stored by their browser. Is this still the case, Christopher? Could this be because of not having the browser extension installed?
All right, so we have an option where once you install the Zoho Vault browser extension, so it will automatically disable the browser's password store. So users cannot, store any further passwords in the browser's password directory that comes by default. So going forward, all passwords they access or they want to store, we will prompt through our browser extension to save it in our service. So that particular feature is available with Chrome and Firefox extensions at the moment. We cannot provide that option in Safari because Apple do not provide a particular functionality or APIs on there and in the Safari. So So this is how it is currently designed with respect to extensions.
All right. So, Lisa, if you still have any queries related to this, please feel free to write to support@zohovault.com. We can even try to see if there's anything we can do to help you fix this issue from our end. And we probably have a couple more minutes, guys. If you have any final questions before we wind up, you can just feel free to post them right away because we're already running out of time. So we can probably take a couple more questions and then I think we should be done. So yeah, if you have any last questions, please post them right away. Even if you have any feedback for a session that we should be conducting next month, if you have any ideas for webinar topics, or if there's something that you really want to learn, then feel free to mention that as well. Okay, Louis says the Cloudline team from Canada is very thankful for this webinar and goes on to say Romba Nandri, which is again a thankful gesture in our local language. Thank you so much, Louis. We are really, really excited to conduct such webinars and help you guys during these tough situations. We are trying to conduct a lot of webinars that will be useful for users. So encouragement like this is really, really, really helpful for us. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll just give it one more minute and I'll just think if there's no more questions, I think we can wind up the session. Christopher, do you have any last things to share with our attendees right now?
So at the moment, what I can say is, we are seeing more customers trying Zoho Vault and wanted to implement a password management solution at this, pandemic situation where we'll be able to retrieve passwords from any locations. So Zoho Vault is one kind of a solution. It's hosted on the cloud. You will be able to access your passwords and sensitive information from a centralized repository across the globe. So you can definitely, try using our solutions. And if in case, if you need any help on a technical aspect, you can definitely reach out to us. So we are available 24/5, Monday to Friday. So you can always drop an email. In case if you need a personalized session, you can drop us an email again with your convenient date and time, at least 2 to 3 available time slots. So we can schedule a session for you and we can have a one-on-one discussion about your requirements. And if in case, if you need any assistance setting up the tool, we are also available here to help you.
Thank you so much for that, Christopher. I think I cannot stress enough on how getting started is at this moment, especially when you're recently migrating to a cloud service. If your enterprise is very recently moving to Vault and other cloud services, I think it would. I think everybody would know how important the initial phase would be with setting up the application and getting the right access for every employee around. So if you have any issues related to getting started with Vault, or if you have any queries related to any feature as well, feel free to write to us at support@zohovault.com. And yeah, we'll be really, really happy to take up your questions. And one more thing that I cannot stress enough is how useful our mobile applications are. So if you don't already have them, please go ahead and install them. You can download Vault on your iOS device as well as your Android device as well. We also have an iPad application. I talked about this earlier in the session. So yeah, if you guys are heavy users of password management service like Vault, you should definitely install browser extensions and iPad application if you have one. These are really, really helpful when you're on the move. And Gilbert is just posted a final question asking if Zoho Vault's available. If Zoho Vault cannot fill passwords on desktop applications. So right now we don't have an option, Gilbert, but we are building a desktop application and it's in the process right now. It's something that is in our roadmap and should be available uh, in a while. we'll be making announcements about all of these stuff on our community. So you can follow our community, as well as you can keep tabs on our blog posts as well. We'll be rolling out a lot of announcements. We'll be rolling out a lot of new features and be announcing different stuff. So yeah, this is something that I wanted to share. I think the last question from Sebastian is that okay, so it's not really a question. Uh, Sebastian again from Cloud Lion says Zoho Vault mobile app is really a great app that he recommends for everyone, even those who are not part of Zoho ecosystem. So thank you so much, Sebastian. We really love such kind words from you. We're happy to know that we're able to serve you well across devices as well. So I think we're done for the session. We've already run out of time. So I'm going to wind up the session. So you can quickly find Zoho Vault's Twitter handle. If you have any questions, you can either write to us on support@zohovault.com, or you can even follow us on Twitter for the latest updates about everything related to Zoho Vault on Twitter as well. So yeah, thank you so much for being patient and staying throughout the session and keeping it really engaging. If we've missed out any of your questions, or if you still need any clarification, you can write to support@zohoworld.com and we'll get in touch with you. Thank you so much for being a part of this session, and I'll meet you again in another webinar very soon. Thank you so much, Christopher. Thank you so much, everyone. I think
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Meenakshi. Thanks for it.
Thank you, guys.